morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Lagos. Welcome to Up You with Ezinne, your favorite female-centric show. It's another amazing hour to spend with you. And today is a super, super special show. Yes, you'll find out in a bit. But first, as always, let me ask you, how are you all doing? I hope you're all very well. I hope everybody's keeping well. And I hope that you're triumphing over every single adversity that's been thrown your way. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, like I say all the time, it's not on radio and I'm here to keep you company. So come stay with me. Let's do this, my beautiful people. As always, my name is Ezinne and I'm your host. Today, I told you, is a special one. We're going to be doing something we've not done before. We have a man on the show. I'm sure you're wondering who this person is, but don't worry, you'll soon find out in a minute. Yes. So come in, settle in, everyone, share the stream. Remember, it's one way that you do what? You help our ministry. So share the stream, bring in your friends, and let's roll. Be kind to follow us on all our social media handles at Up You with Ezinne everywhere, so that you can continue having this conversation with us long after this episode is ended. So please make sure you like and share the stream. If you're just joining us, this is Up You with Ezinne, and the topic on the burner is overcoming adversity in business. I'll say that again, overcoming adversity in business. May I remind you that all episodes of Up You with Ezinne are now all up on our YouTube channel and our podcast channel. So please make sure you tune in and don't you dare miss a thing. If you're joining us, this is Up You with Ezinne, a very special edition. And it's time to bring up our guest. Our guest today is Ifeanyi Oputa, a chemical engineer turned serial entrepreneur and internal optimist. Founder of Colvi Limited, he built ventures in creative arts and real estate, employing thousands through businesses like Studio 24, Africa's largest retail photography brand, and early stints with Chevron, Shell, and NMPC. He vowed never to seek employment, focusing instead on growing his enterprises. As Director General of NASSI since 2020, Ifeanyi has championed the voices of MSMEs across Nigeria, advocating for their survival in challenging business environments. He is a proud father and he hails from Abo in Delta State. Dear everyone, world over, please join me in welcoming the one, the only, Mr. Ifeanyi Oputa. Good morning, Ifeanyi. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Oh my God, he takes a bow. Such a gentleman. It's good to have you on the show finally.
Glad to hear.
Ifeanyi is amazing. Thank you for accepting to do this. If I didn't do this, the women will also kill me, because at the conference we had pressed for time. You needed to be somewhere, and so you just came and just whet our appetite and ran away. And so I promised the women that I was going to bring you back to actually talk to us about what you were supposed to talk to us about on the conference day, and then we would, go a little bit deeper with that unfinished business that you started, yeah? Okay, so we're talking about adversity in business and how to overcome adversity in business.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're a serial business enterprise person. So could you please, your floor.
Okay. This is, thank you for having me, first of all. I'm always glad to see I can share, because I know a lot of people who started business recently, and this is the most difficult time for most people who have started business 2 years ago, for example, and the entire spectrum has changed. They're in a state of despair. And so what I've learned over the years, because I've been through what a lot of them are going through for the first time. I've been through this as a teenage entrepreneur. I've been to this as an adult. I've been through this now as a mature business owner. The first thing is, which I've told anyone who wants to listen, is no matter what kind of business you want to start, no matter what kind of business you're in, you must create for yourself your fallback rescue option. And that fallback rescue option is the one that keeps your mental health in place. Okay? Now, what is that fallback that you must create? You must create a cash cow.
Wow.
If you don't have a cash cow, sayonara, you're not ready for business in Nigeria. You see, a lot of countries in the world have fallback options, have cushions, have things that, buffers that help a person who is going through a tough time.
Mm-hmm.
Quick example, I know a time I was talking about a mortgage in Europe,
mm-hmm.
and I was told that if I was a salary earner and I lost my job, the mortgage insurance would continue paying the mortgage for me until I get a new job.
Oh, wow.
So there's a buffer that is created for people internationally. Mm-hmm. Locally, there's no such thing as a buffer, a real buffer.
Mm-hmm.
So if as a business person, that buffer is missing and all the cards start to crumble, then you totally lose your mind. Mm-hmm. You lose your sense of dignity, you lose, because we're in a country where failure is criminalized. Mm-hmm. Okay, failure is not just, there's not a pity party about failure. Mm-hmm. Failure is criminalized by the state, by the Nigerian state, Nigerian people. You fail, you're a criminal. Okay, so and this is entrenched in so many different ways across the laws and things of the country, which we're trying to deal with in NASSI. So, like I said, the first thing you get is a cash cow. What is a cash cow? You can start off. People think you must have a lot of money to do it. No. A cash cow, you see that small malam, you see people having a malam at their gate, selling chewing gum and bread and all those things. He sells every day.
Yeah, something that gives you money every day.
In the days of the charge cards, a recharge card arrangement is money every day. It could be 1,000 naira you get a day. It could be 2,000 naira. Create a system of any sort. It must not be the business you want to
ultimately do,
but have, even if it's a passive business, have a passive way in which you are receiving some money every day. Now, why I mentioned that, it's not about the number, the kind of volume of money. It's not about the volume. Even if it's 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira, it's not the volume. What it is psychologically, you have something.
You get alerts and you're
every
happy.
Day.
Yeah.
It's keeping your spirits up. It's making you know that all is not lost. Because it's very easy in Nigeria to be in a situation where you think all is lost.
Yeah.
And we come from a country where we live in a country presently where if you, all the respect and the access we tend to get is dependent on whether the people who are immediately surrounding us believe we have something that we're doing. Now, I mean, even the credit, access to credit, because apart from formal credit from banks and things, everyone has where he operates in, and they give him something and say, okay, we can pay me in a week or 2 weeks or whatever. These things that we don't always add up. They are the things that keep you ahead of the curve. Your child is in school. They say, okay, you can pay in a month or 2 months. Everyone gives you that small gap when they know you're doing something.
Yeah. Now,
if your business fails, because businesses do fail, if what you plan to do as your main game fails, God forbid it, but it can fail, that backup keeps you in the game. If it fails without a backup, the entire smiling faces that surround you, the whole group of them will become vicious tigers, especially those who have a little bit of credit with you. They become vicious tigers. Everyone at the same time wants to get their money back because they think, hey, the business has failed. Yeah. That t-shirt I gave you, that camera we gave you, that this, that, 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 this, that, that. everyone comes at the same time and they want to tear you to pieces. So the way to keep yourself from such an avalanche of negativity is to have a cash cow that gives you backup, even 1,000 naira every single day. No shaking. That's what you have to do. So that I learned. I learned that easily from home because my mom had those businesses. She had a poultry, had this, had that. These are businesses that were generating cash every day. So she always had cash at hand, always had something, apart from her salary as a working teacher, she had cash at hand all the time. So when I finished, during school, I finished trading, doing business, I was selling and buying and selling and buying. I opened businesses that generated cash every day. And when I was chasing big businesses, these little businesses, they gave me that courage. They gave me that staying power that the big businesses couldn't give me. Because some of the big businesses, we did contracts and didn't get paid for a year.
Yeah.
And that year, Naira had changed and devalued and everything. But I wasn't sitting at home idle and getting depression because I had cash cows bringing in money every day. So that's the number one lesson for anybody in business that will help you to keep that that monster at bay, the monster of business failure at bay, because you have your backup, that backup. All right.
Thank you very much. This is really very huge. Yeah.
Yes.
It sounds so simple.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, so matter of fact. Yeah. Get a cash cow, as a backup plan so that if something happens that is not in your plan, you fall back on your cash cow.
Yes.
But I know that you just didn't learn this by theory. So can you please just share with us, what was your first business failure? The first adversity that you encountered?
The very first one was in school. I was trading in female fashion. So I was a fashion trader. Whenever I traveled with my parents, my family, I wouldn't buy a thing for myself. I'd bring in a lot of stuff for female fashion boutiques. Because in working, my mom had a garment factory, small garment place, and I was every weekend I'd work there, and I knew about fashion, female fashion, and what was in vogue, what was trending. And so when we travel, I'd buy this and supply it to boutiques. And boutiques would take everything off me and I'd make a lot of money. So I was keeping my money at the time in there's a branch of, there was two banks. There was IBWA, which later became AfriBank, now defunct. And there was UBA as well. These were at the campus, near the gate of the campus. So I used to keep all my money. Whatever I sell, I just take the money, because it was cash, put in the bank, have my teller, and kept a track of my money. And so the first thing that happened, the first real hit, was that the government of the day devalued the currency by 500%.
Oh, wow.
500%. So you also are
half of your money.
Not half, 500%.
Oh,
that
yeah.
means 1/5.
Yeah,
so if you had $20,000, for example, equivalent, with you in your bank, after 24 hours, it became $4,000.
Yeah.
Just like nothing you did, nothing, no indication in the economy of this happening. The government of the day woke up in the morning, 7 a.m., military rule, made a law, made that currency 500% less value. The same time, they now put a ban on the amount of money you could carry out of the country to $500 maximum. And any money above $500 being carried in cash out of Nigeria, you would now face a criminal charge. So you would now be just like a drug pusher for taking more than $500
out of the country.
And mind you, it wasn't the time when you had credit, you had cards. There were no cards.
That's true.
There were no cards. So you're carrying $500. If you're a trader, if you're a business person, how do you? This is not internet time. It's not this time of We can phone somebody abroad who will now put money. And no. So every single person that was flying in the plane had to smuggle money. Nobody was traveling with Fela. Look at how they got Fela the first time. It was because he was carrying more than $500. He went to jail. They needed him in jail anyway, but $500 was the maximum. You carry more than $500, you're in jail. And so we had to devise new means of taking money abroad to trade, because I was a trader. And so Nigeria happened to me. I lost I lost all my money. So what did I have to do? What did I do? At the time when this devaluation happened, everyone got broke. Normal, decent, middle-aged people, middle-class people got into poverty line, below the poverty line immediately. People had kids in school, they couldn't pay the school fees. Everything just collapsed. The economy collapsed. And so I needed to get this money into hard currency without breaking the law. So I lived in Ibadan at the time, and I noticed that even my mom, most people were selling their gold. Even my mom, the first thing they wanted to sell was their gold, their jewelry. And so they started looking for people to buy their jewelry. But where I used to buy most of my fashion was a place called Hatton Cross in the UK. And at Hatton Cross, whenever I go to the traders to buy the fashion, I noticed there are jewelers who were asking that we buy gold here, 9 carat, 10 carat. So I approached the dealers and said, look, a lot of people back home are trying to sell their gold because our currency's crashed and they don't have any money to. If I got gold for you, if I got gold jewelry for you, would you? I said, of course they'll buy it. I said, great, but how do I know the real jewelry? So the guy gave me a small pouch, and it had all the testers for different 9 carat, 18 carat, 14 carat, everything. All the testers were there. And they gave me the reagents, the chemicals to use to test. So I bought this whole thing, and I bought a small scale from him as well, which is a digital scale. 100 pounds or something at the time. I bought everything. Go back home, and I told all my friends and my people, my mom, everybody, you know what? I'm open to buy gold. Yes. And gold came.
Everybody
everybody was trying to sell their gold already. And was selling to guys in the marketplace who were cheating them. Because the guys in the marketplace knew there was a glut of gold looking for buyers. And there was no one to buy it. So I said, I'm buying gold. And as you bring your gold, I test it. When it's the right, if it's 18 carat, I take my price. I call the UK, the guys in Hatton Cross, what's your price today? Going price for 18 carat, this is my price. I give them my price, and they bring their gold. So I buy gold into a small, less than maybe 300 grams or 500 grams of gold, jewelry, not gold dust, jewelry.
Earrings, necklaces, bangles.
Jewelry. So I go to the airport, and they'll be checking me for dollars. Where is the money? I said, I have my $500 that you said I should carry. What's all this jewelry? Am I not allowed to carry jewelry? It's jewelry.
Oh, wow.
Are you sure? I said, see, now check it. It's jewelry. I go, sell the jewelry, get paid in pounds. And what I was paid was such that the exchange rate did not affect me.
Yeah, so either way.
I made my money. I could have just made money by selling the gold. But I didn't get the sterling from the gold to just get sterling. I got it to buy fashion
and come
bring back.
So all of a sudden one day there was devaluation which hit you, and then you decided, you saw an opportunity, you took it, and you now became a merchant of some sort.
Immediately.
So you were selling gold to get money, to now buy fashion, to come back to Nigeria and get more money. Serial enterprise. That's how it starts. You have to be ready to see the opportunities, and then you have to jump in. Because if you had started thinking, should I not?
Yes.
That window might have closed
immediately,
and you will not have been able to capitalize on it.
Straight up.
So that's what we're talking about. If you find an opportunity, women, you just go right in. You learn while you are on the job.
On the job.
Even you didn't know how to test gold before.
Never knew. I just noticed them saying, we buy. They're still there. Anybody who has a friend or someone in the UK, go to Hatton Cross, Hatton Cross. The Jewish folks.
That's still
all
there.
of them are buying gold till today.
Oh, wow.
Till today.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you see, so that's probably where you learned about having the cash cow.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so that it will be easy for you to make a rebound.
Yes.
From any adversity that strikes you. Yes. And it's interesting that you've gone on to start several other businesses. Yes. You know, anybody seeing you will say, oh, Ifeanyi, it's the MD of Studio 24. Yes. But we know otherwise, don't we?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a bit of what you do now. You can't tell us all, but yes. Tell us some of what you do now. And I'm particularly interested in what you do for the MSMEs.
Okay. What I am, I tell whoever wants to listen is that I'm an enterprise person. Mm-hmm. So being an enterprise person is quite different from straitjacketing yourself into or pigeonholing yourself into I'm a baker, I'm a tailor, I'm an enterprise person. So that means that I can see opportunities in any enterprise, mm-hmm. in any field of endeavor.
Yeah.
And I can, if I see that there's opportunities to go in there and make a difference, mm-hmm. and make it commercially viable, and if it's something I can do, I'll do it immediately. So, and when I see that the commercial viability of a department starts to wane, I'd also be happy and willing to leave. I don't have to stay fixed on something that's not.
So no sentiments.
No, hell no.
It's not productive. It's not profitable. You kill it at once.
See whether there's an area to adjust into, mm-hmm. or to apply the resources differently, mm-hmm. or to offload it.
I like that word, offload.
Offload. Because what may be unprofitable for me, mm-hmm. what I might see as unprofitable, a person who is maybe just someone who just retired, mm-hmm. or who just wants something to do to keep him or herself busy each day.
Seasons of
They're not looking for
a lot of money
or margins. They just want to have something that they're doing every day. Mm-hmm. So those folks will buy a business.
That
and they'll be happy with it. But it doesn't. That business may not resonate with my own trajectory. Mm-hmm. So there are always the businesses which are getting boring to you as a person, or getting less attractive to you, mm-hmm. but are the prayer point
of some other person's. Yes.
So you offload.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. And you're happy when you offload. You're happy with the person's. You even offer to help guide and gauge and help the person who was bought to continue to thrive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, why not?
Interesting.
Yeah. I've sold businesses happily. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So you were telling us, how did you get into that space? Or how did you come into deciding to join the space to ensure that people who are doing businesses in Nigeria at least, have some kind of favorable operating circumstances or economy or environment?
Okay. It started, the real challenge started during COVID. Mm-hmm. I noticed that around the world there were things being done for business people to help them survive the storm. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of all that, I saw the Nigerian government struggling with how to identify and support businesses. The CBN was coming up with various statements, mm-hmm. but I didn't quite see where they would impact the real business people. Mm-hmm. People were in serious trouble. And I had long since joined this association called NASSI, mm-hmm. Nigerian Association of Small-Scale Industrialists. I joined about 5 years prior. And when I joined NASSI, I was looking at how to work with NASSI on developing our own industry, to see how more and more people could. So at the time when this mayhem was happening, I called the president of NASSI, Dr. Solomon Vongpa. I said, look, hey, President, what are you guys doing about stranded people? Because I have been here before. I know how to migrate my company out of this. But I know so many people that cannot survive this. So what is NASSI doing about it? And so when I finished talking, he threw me a challenge. He said, put your money where your mouth is.
I like that.
I said, I don't understand. He said, look, the NASSI presently hasn't got a Director General. And there's someone who's acting as Director General, but they need a person who understands the whole SME space and who's a veteran in SME space and wants a volunteer DG, not a person who's going to come and applying for a job, but someone who's a volunteer Director General who can put his money where his mouth is and play the part and really understand the difficulties and speak truth to the folks in power who can understand better. And so that was a challenge for me. And I said, okay. Next day, I stepped over it. Next morning, I called. I said, you know what? Sign me on. Let's do this. Let's do it. Let's go. So in getting into that space, I've been able to, we have engagements severally with government at different levels, with associations, with international organizations. We've seen gaps and we've spoken against these gaps. We've seen where policies are made that haven't had any consultation with the little guy. And so we've stood in the gap and made a case for the little guy so many, several times. And a lot of these have adjusted government's thinking and pronouncements and interest in the SME space. And if you pay attention to what the government is saying a lot nowadays, government officials are talking a lot about MSMEs, talking about supporting MSMEs. It's now a buzzword. It's taking a life of its own, but it didn't come on its own. It's through the efforts of several people, several associations, including ours. It's not strictly us, but the constant pressure from groups like ours and other groups have made government sit up to say, you know what, we really need to speak to these guys. These are the people who are driving our economy. And it's been an interesting journey all the way.
Yeah, thank you. And did you notice that in that space there are more females than male?
It's one of the, I would like, it's a tragedy in my words. I know the females will have another story for that, but it's a tragedy to have so many women in a space and very few men in that same space. And when you look at the census figures of Nigeria, from whenever you look at them, there's a balance between men and women in terms of numbers. So why are the women actively chasing enterprise? Actively chasing enterprise. The women are chasing enterprise. The women are chasing their faith, which is a faith-based thing. I won't talk about Islam or Christianity, it's just faith. Any faith-based thing, the women are there.
They embody it, they've owned that space.
Any exercise or anything that helps the well-being of the human being, the women are there. And they're there on their own. They're not being pushed there. So it's a wake-up call for guys. And a lot of men, my gender, need to really, really wake up and smell the coffee, because it's not good enough for, if you look at the whole spectrum and see, okay, in all the key political positions, in the key business positions, you'll find that a lot of men are everywhere. And so in looking at the key positions, one might think men are in control. But you just take just go one step below that position, and the entire space is populated by women. So really, you have women running the economy. Nigeria's economy is run by women.
Please, can you give your voice some volume? Put some volume to it.
Nigeria's economy is run by the women. So women are not a disadvantaged group. like everyone tries to make it look like women are disadvantaged, women are women are downtrodden, women are this, women are that. Nigerian women run the economy, right? The men folk who are out there, we put up a good show. Yeah, the men put up a good show, and you know, but the real economy is run by women. Yeah.
Okay, I do not want you to be crucified, so I'm not going to. So I'm not going to pursue that line of questioning. I'm going to now take you to the issue you raised at the conference about the women
Yes.
enjoying our safe spaces and having
Yes.
our conversations and
Yes.
building up ourselves,
Yes.
and at the same time forgetting to build up the men that we will marry, that our children will
Yes.
marry.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a very, very deep call, and I'd like you to speak to it some more.
Okay. It's pretty simple. Now, it's very worrisome. You see, in any country, if you travel across the world, you'll see the influence of the arts on the people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of influence on the arts, and then you have, in today's world with the social media and the internet, information and culture change is swift.
Mm-hmm.
Now, over the past decade, I've noticed that there's been a total, especially Nigeria, it's not Africa-wide, it's mainly Nigeria, where the culture, the songs, the acting, the arts, everything is geared around women now refusing or belittling men who are not, who don't have the means, financial means, to take care of them. So, as that's happening and the opportunities start to dwindle for men, because most employers, I'm an employer who I can tell you for free, most employers, the unwritten rule is that we like to employ women more than men. It says, anyone can say, if you want to come, they said, come and beat me, huh? Come and beat me. Most employers prefer to employ women. And unless they're jobs that are strictly, really manual labor jobs, but in office jobs and in administration, most men prefer to employ women. So women are getting more of the jobs out there. Most employment is going to women, even in hospitality, hotels, waitresses, everything. You find that women are getting the jobs at a ratio of 7 or 8 to 1. 7 or 70% or 80% is going towards the women folk. So if the men folk are not getting jobs, and then the men folk are not getting access to credit for business, because most of the access to credit that has relaxed terms of no collateral, no this, no that, these are being championed by women for women. So the guys are not getting access to credit. The guys are not getting access to information, the kind of information they need. The men don't have these, when you have women groups who, women empowerment groups that support each other, tell other women what opportunities are out there, and you have several women in these chains of platforms online. There are no such platforms for men. Don't be fooled. There's no men's platform on this that I'm aware of in this Nigeria that men speak to themselves and give themselves tips and opportunities on health, on this and that. There are mixed platforms for everyone, but there are none that are geared for the man. But for the women, my sister's on 1,000. My other sister's on another 1,000. Every woman has women groups every woman has these groups she's on and platforms, and she's learning that you guys are doing amazing things for yourselves, but the men are left out. And the men being left out are also faced with another problem. You see, the men don't have, apart from having this avalanche of women who are saying only rich men, only men who can afford them, the men now also have another challenge. They don't have role models. Where are the role models? Where are the role models for the men? So you see, there's a national crisis, a national shortage of role models.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you see, if you look at the trappings of success, the ornaments that accompany success.
Mm-hmm.
The most common ornaments are, okay, flashy car, big house. Nigeria now, you say, okay, a person has a mopole, yeah, a jeep and a mopole, he's a big man, all right? So these are the trappings of success that people relate now in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
But those trappings are available to whoever can afford them.
True.
It's not available to people who are truly enterprise people,
mm-hmm.
or are truly successful in any endeavor,
mm-hmm.
any legitimate endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
So these trappings are paid for.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of people who are drug dealers carrying,
having all the
trappings
success
of success.
Yeah.
You have people who are ritualists with these trappings. You have people doing all kinds of nonsense with these trappings. So now, and the worst part is that those that have those trappings get the front row at church.
And everywhere else.
So if you have that going on, and all these young people are aspiring to be like these successful people, then, and those successful people have there's nothing they're doing beyond, there's nothing they're really doing that says, you know what, this person's, if you listen to people online, you hear about an inventor in America or somebody in Sweden that did something, he created Airbnb, created this, created that. These things, they inspire the young people in those countries.
Mm-hmm.
But what is there to inspire? That the person has a car. What's the inspiration? What does that person do for a living? So these stories are few and far between. Authentic stories are few and far between. So when you don't have authentic stories of success, authentic stories, then you have too many people believe that hard work does not pay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have too many people believe that toiling and doing good and working hard and being a legitimate person is not the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because those who have been those things don't seem to have the trappings of success.
Yeah.
And they also are belittled by the women folk. They still fall into the category of men who today's average young Nigerian woman says, you cannot take care of her.
I see.
So the men are in serious trouble, especially in the urban areas. You know, I have never lived in rural, but in the urban areas, Nigerian men are in trouble. And there has to be a turnaround, but it can't come from the men. It has to come from the women folk. There's a lot of
it's getting interesting.
Yeah.
Why come from the women folk?
Okay, if a group in their numbers have started to think in a way that is antisocial, mm-hmm. and is it's harming themselves, it's harming the women themselves. Mm-hmm. Most don't know until they get more advanced in age. Mm-hmm. They start to realize that, hey, you know what we did and said back then has taken a huge toll on the guys out there. Mm-hmm. So when women start to look at that and they look at the spectrum properly and say, you know what we've become, we're not so proud of what we've become. And we've not been fair to the other side. And we've broken the spirits of those young men to a point where they don't even have the confidence to come up to us properly. And so the upwardly mobile women who expect to be paired with upwardly mobile men can't find those men. They can't find those men because they're so few and far between. They can find males who are, by anatomy, they're male. Mm-hmm. But do those men have the spirit, the forgive my French, do they have the balls to really lead these women who are these can they ask a woman who is upwardly mobile to hey
so
listen,
therefore,
yes,
because these men are not manly,
yes,
quote and unquote,
yes,
when they now get in contact with these fiercely successful women,
yes,
they now revert or recourse to emasculating them.
the men haven't got what it takes to take on these women.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And mind you, a sexual encounter is not taking on a woman.
obviously, it's providing leadership, providing direction, companionship, growth, respect, and all of that.
The woman feels safe
exactly.
with that man.
But I find it a bit curious that you're saying that the salvation of the men will have to come from the women, because the men have huge ego, all due respect.
Yes.
So how are we going to bust a little bit of that bubble and be able to reach them?
Because you see, the ego that men have, men are more vulnerable to the women they respect than they are to fellow men. Men don't want to share the real situation with fellow men. Men rather die than let the other man know what's up.
Oh, really?
Exactly. Men have so many reasons why they shield and pretend and protect that which is left of their dignity. Do you understand? That's because you see, there's a collective mental health crisis. As you cut away at a man's dignity, at a man's masculinity, as you carve deeper and deeper into it, you start to remove the very pillars upon which his dignity is
hinged on.
So you leave a very fragile man who only has what's left of he only has that closet secret that keeps him from being totally exposed and totally lost. So he's hanging on to that little thread that's left, that when society and economy and things have made him bare, made him naked. And so men in this category would tend to go for a woman who is in a desperate situation, who then sees whatever it is he's doing as great. Because that person makes him feel like he's a superstar. And that could be someone selling granules on the street. That could be someone, and this is an educated person who normally should be at a place where he's so inspired about things to do, or he's not about money itself, but about the way he wants to carry on and the things, opportunities he should be a person that is so driven that a woman who is seeing that can say, you know what, this guy is so driven. If we pair together, I can support his drive and we can make magic happen. But those men who should be that driven, they're in chains.
Oh, wow. So this is actually even a very complex situation. Very. It's not something that we can unpack totally on this conversation.
Of course.
I do hope that the women that are listening, and maybe some of the men listening, will find themselves in this conversation that we're having, and it will cause them to have a rethink.
Yes.
Because even beyond the men that we are marrying, there's also the issue of the men that we have bettered, the boys who have bettered, yes, who are going to become men.
Yes.
You know, I personally believe that patriarchy is still in motion or inactive, whatever, because women are actually the people that are defending it and practicing it.
Yes.
And that if we did do some real good check and went home to train our boys very well, that we will get some kind of good crop of good crop of men for our children to marry. So you have actually started something, and we are looking at it, and we are definitely looking forward to having you come back in 2025 to run out on this conversation so that we can put some actionable points behind it. Yeah. So thank you again, Ifeanyi, for this. And then I'm going to ask you maybe my last question for today. So if some woman has found herself right now as we speak in the adversity of having her business venture failed, what do you advise they do beyond, the cash cow thingy? How do they dig themselves out of it?
One thing is to understand if one can always, not just on business, but on everything you do, to interrogate the situation properly. What has happened? What's like a post-mortem, so to speak, on that business. A very frank post-mortem. A lot of people's businesses have failed not because they did anything wrong. A lot of businesses have failed because of ignorance, financial literacy. And this financial literacy, I don't mean going to Harvard or London School of Economics or anywhere. This financial literacy in Nigeria is totally different from
anywhere else in the world.
Yes. So if you don't have a bit of street financial literacy in Nigeria, and you are doing your business nicely, you have a higher risk of business failure. So the first thing I'd like people to look at, no matter what business you do, is to try to educate yourself about get to understand the financial part of business in Nigeria. I'll just say very quickly. First of all, you have to know the cost of money.
The cost of money?
The cost of money in every country is different. There's no book I've seen that talks about the cost of money in Nigeria. There's no business person I've seen that talks about the real cost of money in Nigeria.
The real cost of money.
Exactly. So if you don't know the cost of money, you run the risk of believing the CBN when they say the interest rate is 25% or 23% or this percent. That's not the cost of money. So you must know the cost of money. Once you know the cost of money, you automatically know the cost of inventory. Because if you know the cost of money, the cost of holding inventory, how much stock can you hold at a time? And how much is the stock devaluing? How much, if you're manufacturing stuff, how much is it costing you to keep that thing in stock? So the cost of money and the cost of the inventory, if you don't understand that, you'll continue to be in a losing battle against inflation.
Yeah.
And so these are the real dangers that people go through in their businesses. The cost of money, understanding the cost of money, understanding the cost of inventory. These are very key areas. There's so many other areas, but these two would save a lot of people I know who have gone out of business, didn't understand these two things.
Cost of money and cost of inventory.
Yeah.
So that you know what your threshold is and know what you can hold per time.
In Nigeria.
Especially in Nigeria.
Japan, cost of money is zero.
Yes.
Cost of money is 0% in Japan. Cost of money in Europe is about 3% per annum.
And over here, it's certainly not the 25% or thereabouts that we are thinking about. So,
cost of money here is 120% minimum. Minimum.
3 digits.
120% minimum.
But yet, Ifeanyi, you tell us that Nigeria is a very good economy to be in, it's a very good country to live in, and it's somewhere that we can all triumph and thrive.
Of course it is.
So could you just, leave us on that high note again, so that while we're thinking about the cost of money and the inventory we should carry or not carry, we have it at the back of our mind that we live in a good country and that we can thrive.
You don't live in a good country. You live in an amazingly fabulous country.
Don't you people just love Ifeanyi's optimism?
It's true.
See, when he said in his bio that he's very optimistic, I thought it was just, but can you hear him now?
Nigeria, see, I've told you about, in saying the cost of money, it's like, you see, if you watch surfers, people surf, There are waves.
So you ride the waves.
You ride the
curve.
waves.
Yeah.
You have to be able to stay on top of that curve. So to stay on top of it, you have to know
when one is coming.
Yes.
And feel the rumbling.
So once you know the cost of money, you won't take decisions that can hurt you.
Through this.
Yes. So the Lebanese guys that come here, the Syrians, the Chinese, everybody, they know the cost of money in Nigeria. And they're riding that way very well. They know what not to keep. They know how to keep just enough inventory per time. They know how to get the credit off of the suppliers. So the suppliers carry the load.
They transfer their risk.
Once you understand the cost of money in Nigeria, you're better off than 99% of Nigerian business people. Because 99% do not know the cost of money. Go today and ask people, what's the cost of money? I can bet you my bottom dollar that out of 1,000 people you ask, only at most 100, at most out of 1,000 people will tell you the cost of money. The rest will just be clueless, and they're in business. So, so if they don't understand that, people in government don't know the cost of money. People in business in Nigeria don't know the cost of money. So that's why you see people take a holiday or call a day, and they don't know. They've never talked about man hours. So who calculates the man hours lost? If we know cost of money, no one will spend 4 hours in traffic in Lagos. You just
said something very poignant.
Yes.
Because the truth is, if we did really understand that, then we'll take better decisions to ensure that our economy is thriving. But because it's almost as if we are blind and also in the dark, we just take decisions like this without recourse. Oh, shit.
Even your own personal money. See, the cost of money. Sorry, when you're asking the questions to the 1,000 people, remember, the cost of money isn't just the money you're borrowing. What's the cost of your own money? If you have 100,000 naira today to put into business, don't assume that 100,000 has no cost. That 100,000 naira has an opportunity cost. If you give it to people who trade and everything, how much will you get?
Versus,
you want to put it, so it has a cost. What's the cost of that money?
This has to be a business 101 masterclass. Maybe we should do one. Wow, go ahead. It's amazing. Stars are popping in my head like this, oh, wow.
Once you know the cost of money, you put your money somewhere and say, I put in 1 million, I made 1.2 million. How long did it take you to make the 1.2 million? It took you 5 months to make the 1.2 million.
Could you have done something else that would do
And you believe that 20,000 naira is profit? You're in loss already.
Bam.
If you know the cost of money.
Bam, and bam again. Somebody says I like saying bam, and this is a good time to say bam. If you don't know
the cost of money, you always assume that your own money has no cost. Do you understand? After all, it's my money. No. Your money has a cost. In Nigeria, any country where the cost of the money is high, you have to calculate how much it costs to keep that money somewhere. That's what you have to know. Anywhere where the cost is high. In Japan, it's 0%. America, 4 or 5%. Europe, 3%, 2%. The cost of money varies per country, but Nigeria cost of money is over 120% today.
And yet, we will triumph and we will keep thriving.
Of course.
Yeah, because how do I know that? There is an Ifeanyi Oputa. He keeps riding the curves that, life and everything throws at him in his business. The truth is, he couldn't have come this far without hitting some bad patches. One thing he's made us to understand today is that you can actually go into a bad patch in business by doing absolutely nothing wrong. Government policies can take you out, a change. But Ifeanyi says, make sure that you do have what? A backup plan. You have to have something that gives you money on a daily basis, a cash cow.
Every day.
So if you haven't thought about it before, please begin to think about it today. One of the ways to triumph or to go through the fire in business is to ensure that there is a backup plan that gives you money every day. So when the big one is shaky, fluttering, you just know that there is something there. And what I really love most about what you said is the fact that it keeps your mental health in check.
That's the main
Because
game.
most times people actually take their life, go into depression, kaput, just because a business failed.
Yes.
But when you are calculative about your business, when you understand what you should understand about business, you make sure that you put something in place that keeps your head in check when things are going
Exactly.
not as expected.
Exactly. That's the key.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very, very much. So we're wrapping up right now. Can you give us your last thoughts? Did you enjoy the conference, by the way? The little that you saw?
It was an amazing conference. I loved
Loud it.
It was an amazing conference. The women there were on fire. Like I said, women. That's why we're scared of you guys. You guys have it all together in terms of your, women are doing a lot of things to help the other woman get up. Like I said in the conference, which I want to say again, beyond just the middle class, upwardly mobile women, let's get these messages, let's get this support and this hope to the downtrodden few, the downtrodden majority who's out there, helpless and hopeless. Let's get that message across to them. Let's help them to also thrive. Let's also help create laws in the country that protect women, help push for some legislation that will protect women. The family courts in Nigeria, great legislation. It's helping so many families today. But beyond family courts, that's on one side. Then issues to do with alimony. I mentioned that time that people, women who are kicked out of their homes or whose relationships fail or who are termed barren or whatever they're termed, what they go through in the hands of their in-laws and relatives, etc. There must be laws that are created to protect such women. And when those laws are created, and they do the two things, they protect the woman in general, and they put a check on ambitious men who think they can get away with murder. Right? So that would be nice.
Thank you very much. And it is on the backdrop of that we started to do the Empower Her Nigeria project, where we have set out to, in the first instance, empower 100 of such women as we describe, so that we can see how we can begin to bridge the gap between the almost eroded or fully eroded middle class and the rest of the world, because the rest of us, because they are actually in majority. So if we keep speaking the English and keep upskilling and tooling up ourselves, and we forget our sisters there, then there'll be a huge gap.
Too much. Too big.
So we need to bridge that gap so that we can carry everyone along.
Perfect.
So thank you very much, Ifeanyi, and I'm looking forward to what we will bet together next year.
That's fine.
Thank you for your time. I know how busy you are, and I'm really very appreciative that you gave us this time.
Thank you more.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, I'd like to remind everyone about the Empower Her Nigeria project. Please make sure you are glued on our website, www.UpYouConferences.com, because information will be reaching you very soon on how you can apply, who qualifies, and in what states we're rolling out in the first instance. It's been a very, very wonderful one, speaking with Ifeanyi Oputa today. As you can see, this is just what he gave us at the conference that made the women say to me, go find him for some more. And he has given us some more today, and I hope that someone will take a lesson or two from here. Find that cash cow. That cash cow, find it today, activate it today. It doesn't have to be something that you put your face to or put your name to, but make sure something is happening that gives you money every day. If you remember what the first speaker said to us, Sholasma Stewart, Adeshakin, what she said to us at the conference, she said, some of our adversities can be taken care of by you receiving one alert, 5,000 naira, urgent 2K, 50K, so we better make sure that we have the cash cows going for us. So this is all we can take for now. For today, it's been another amazing one. And I'm looking forward, as always, to be coming your way every Wednesday with interesting conversations to uplift you and encourage you, and also encourage you to be the best version of yourself that you can be. And so make sure you get copies of our books and make sure you follow us on all social media. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. This is where we wrap up today's edition of Up You with Ezinne. It's been another amazing one. Please remember to follow us on all our social media platforms at Up You with Ezinne and put on your notifications, get copies of our books, and let's continue the conversations. Big up to everyone that is involved in creating this magic every week, starting with you, our dear listeners, our guests, and the amazing UpYou team. Thank you so much. Until I come your way next week, stay lifted and keep triumphing over your adversities. My name, as always, is Ezinne Kufrekanem, and is UpYou.